Hey guys, as most of you already know, Peaky Blinders has become one of my favorite shows almost right away after I started watching it. Although season 3 wasn't my favorite season out of the 5, there was one scene in the finale episode of the season that really stood out to me, and I thought this has gotta be one of the best scenes in the entire series. And once again, it's a scene between Alfie Solomons and Thomas Shelby. There's so many elements that makes this scene so great, but there's one thing that stood out to me in particular, and that is the cinematography. I always believe that there's meaning behind every single shot in a film, and there's always a reason as to why the director have made that specific choice to shoot in that particular way. And I think this scene is a great example of that. As I repeatedly watched the scene, trying to figure out what made the scene so great, I noticed that the camera work played a huge part in aligning us, the audience, with the emotions and the feeling of the scene. The shot size gradually gets tighter and tighter as the scene progresses, and we go from a wide full body shot to a medium shot, then a medium close-up shot, and ultimately at the highest point of tension in the scene, close-up shots. The scene starts with a wide as Thomas Shelby meets with Alfie Solomons, and we're just being introduced to the scene and nothing particularly is going on just yet. As they start talking about business, the deal they had, the shot goes from a wide full body shot to a medium shot, and eventually a medium close-up shot, as important information is being shared. The audience are also subconsciously being pulled into their conversation, and we pay closer attention to what they're saying. As Tommy retrieves the information from Alfie Solomons and hands him the money, the shot cuts back to a medium shot, and we as the audience are misled to believe that the deal is over and the tension has been released. However, as Tommy turns around and walks towards the camera holds on to this moment until once again he's framed in a medium close-up shot. This is a very clever way of changing the framing of a character using blocking rather than cutting to a different shot. Now, blocking is simply the choreography or the movement of the actor in relation to the camera. And as Tommy walks towards the camera and the framing tightens around him, we as the audience feel the tension increase as we sense something is wrong. And when Tommy pulls out a gun and points at Solomons, the tension of the scene once again increases and the shot size tightens to an even tighter medium close-up shot. But notice how the medium close-up shot is used only on Solomons, while a medium shot is used for Tommy. This shows that Tommy is more calm and in control while Solomons is nervous. And he's nervous as Tommy had just figured out that Solomons is guilty of betraying him, and Solomons tried to play it off, but he got caught.
Listen, sweetie, you can't take a man.
He gave information in exchange for the share.
Oh, he told me there were things in that treasury, right? God himself, he spoke to me and he said, Alfie, you are meant to have these things.
As the dialogue continues, Tommy gets more and more emotional and eventually loses his cool. And we as the audience feel it, and the shot on Tommy eventually tightens to a medium close-up as well. Then we get our first close-up shot of this scene, as Alfie is angered and shocked by two things. One, Tommy saying that he crossed the line.
You crossed the line, Alfie.
You fucking what?
You crossed the line.
Two, the fact that Tommy's boy was kidnapped as a result of his actions.
They're using my boy!
Now, whoever directed this scene made a brilliant decision on keeping this close-up on Alfie Solomons, as Tom Hardy is probably one of the few actors who's able to convey a complex mixture of emotions of shock, anger, and guilt all at once using simply his eyes while doing absolutely nothing. And eventually, as Tommy completely loses it, we get our first close-up of Tommy. Soon after, as Michael tries to calm Tommy down and try to break him up from Alfie Solomons, this entire scene is pretty much all shot on close-ups, as it is the most intense sequence of the entire scene. What I love further about this part of the scene is that the camera work subtly transitions from a steady shot to a handheld shot, which not only adds to the tension and the chaos of the scene, but also perfectly matches the unstable mentality of Thomas Shelby. And notice how the shot on Michael is perfectly steady, while the shots on Alfie Solomons and Thomas Shelby are all handheld. The camera work perfectly matches the emotional state of each character, as Alfie Solomons and Thomas Shelby are both angry, while Michael is more calm and controlled. As Michael calms Tommy down, the shot on Tommy eventually steadies, while the shots on Alfie Solomons remains handheld as he is still angry. And eventually, both characters calm down and the scene cools off. The tight close-up shot opens up to a medium close-up shot, eventually a medium shot, and the camera becomes more steady. So, throughout this entire scene, both the camera work and the shot size are both purposefully chosen, matching both the tension of the scene and the emotional state of the characters. And by doing so, we as an audience are subconsciously pulled into the scene and our emotions are aligned with the emotions and the feelings of the characters in the scene. Another thing I want to quickly draw your attention to is lack of non-diegetic sound. Non-diegetic sound is basically sound that does not exist within the world of the characters. So for example, music or soundtrack that creates and adds to the atmosphere of the scene. If you watch the scene again, you notice that this scene has no music or sound design. It feels very raw and the tension is purely built up by the interaction of the two characters and the camera work, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And in scenes like this, the lack of non-diegetic sound can actually help build the tension of the scene. It also allows us, the audience, to absorb and feel the emotions on a deeper level. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and I really hope you learned something from this video. After reading the comments on my previous Peaky Blinders video where I broke down the negotiation scene between Alfie Solomons and Thomas Shelby, one of you guys commented saying I should break down this scene, and I did. So let me know down in the comments below what other scenes would you like me to break down. It doesn't have to be from Peaky Blinders, it can be from any movies or any shows, as long as I've seen the show. Who knows, you might be responsible for the next video. So thumbs up if you liked the video, and subs if you haven't already, and go enjoy your TV shows and movies.